Alright, my guitar addicts, this is what the inside of the box looks like. Everything looks pretty nicely packed. They give you some extra stuff here, little Stewmac swaggy stuff. And it looks like this is the instruction manual. Alright, so we're going to use instruction manual. We're going to break this guy open and see what the quality of the initial parts are. See if what we start with is good. So this is pretty interesting. This is how it came out of the box. And it actually came with everything in the right place to give you a good idea of where everything goes. And honestly, this is half built already. So I could see where they would say you could do this in a day, because in reality they've done the stuff that's going to take you the most time, which is figuring out how to put the neck in the slot and where to put the drill holes in to get it to sit right. But it looks like the neck fits pretty good in the slot there. I'm going to try to give you a good look at it. Here and down here. Looks pretty good. I'm going to take the plate off and we'll see what the rest of it looks like. But not bad. Here's the bridge. It's nice and chrome. Looks like a good amount of metal there. So I think the quality is not bad. So here's the plate. Everything seems to be wired up. You take a look at the back. The wiring job is good. I'm really happy with it. You got your tone and your tone, your volume, your 5-way switch. Soldering looks nice. Wires are nicely put together. It looks like here we've got the wiring for the output jack. So that's all set. I thought we may have to do that initial bit of soldering, but it looks like that is the only soldering we'll have to do. These are ceramic pickups, so nothing too bad. Not great pickups, but ceramic pickups are pretty good these days. So far, so good. The switch even sounds nice. It's nice and firm. Firm but smooth. That's what you want the stuff to be. You don't want it to be too clicky, and you don't want it the knobs just to spin without any kind of resistance. You want them to be smooth. You don't want to hear or feel any grime or grunge in there, but you want it to be a little firm but smooth. And it looks like the hardtails have screwed in for us. So that's not bad. The body could still use a sanding job, but that's kind of nice too. I guess really what you're doing with this guitar is you're doing the finish work. Most of the hard work of the guitar building is already done. The front work isn't bad. The sides are a little sharp, but I think if we run over it with a nail file, that should be fine. It's got the nut there. The peg head holes aren't bad. They're not, I don't think they are completely straight to the peg head, but that's not too bad. I don't think you're going to notice anything about that when all the hardware is in. You know, the neck is a pretty nice shape too. Give you a little shot of the rosewood fingerboard. What I do like a lot is the neck sits pretty well in the neck slot. So this is the hardware bag, I guess ST for Strat. It's got a couple bags in it. This feels like the tuning keys. This feels like most likely it's the output jack. And this one has the output jack down here, which I think is a good idea. If it was here, with the guitar being so small, the cord would stick out quite a bit and may not be too comfortable. But here, I think it's nice and out of the way. They probably didn't have too much space either to put it on the front. I guess there's really no place to put it on the front, so they had to put it there. But I think that's a good place for it to be. And this feels like mostly the screws. So I'm going to take a look at the instructions and see how much of this I'm going to do today. I think I might be able to get the whole thing put together in a day, and then I'll take it apart, and me and Dave will probably do all the finish work. We'll have to take everything apart to sand it. But if you just wanted to put together to see how it plays, I could see where they would say you could do this in a day. Maybe they came with some strings. Everybody who left a review of it said that these weren't the greatest strings and they tend to break, especially because the guitar needs to be tuned up an octave from a normal guitar, and these strings look like regular 9s or 10s, and I don't really think they were designed to have that much tension on them. I wanted to show you guys this piece of the instruction manual. It says here you're supposed to cut out these 16-inch radius gauges to do the saddle, so I'm assuming that the neck is a 16-inch radius. So in case you guys wanted to know what the neck radius was. And then here's a list of the supplies they say you need. It looks like in the instructions they also show you how to sand it down and do the finish. And that's going to come in handy if you've never done a finish before. It tells you what products to buy, and hopefully it gives you the run through on how to do it. So here's a picture of everything it says is in the kit. And the instructions actually start with the guitar being in pieces and doing the finish. Now Dave's really going to do most of the finishing. We're going to do that together. So in this video I'm just going to put it together and see how it plays. That way I can give you guys an idea of what the guitar feels like. And then how it looks will be a whole other video. So it seems like the first thing it wants us to do is put the tuners in the neck. So I'm going to go ahead and put the tuners in the peg head. It also does tell you before that this is a great opportunity to cut the peg head to the shape you want. So that's cool. You can do a nice cool design if you wanted to. Make it something original and then put your name on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the tuners in. Alright, so hopefully I've given you guys a good angle on what we're doing here. And this seems to be the bag with the tuners. Okay, so we're probably not going to do the drilling for the mounting screws today. We're just going to put them in there, tighten them in with the washer and the bushing here, and then we'll do that after we do the finish job. So this has the washers and the screws, so we'll just use the washers for right now. It doesn't seem like these are going to be staggered at all, so I think they are all the same length, so it doesn't really matter which ones we put in first. They aren't numbered or anything. Quality doesn't seem to be too bad. They're not great. I would say if we end up really digging this guitar, we may end up changing these out for something a little nicer. Yeah, they're not as smooth as we would like, but maybe that'll feel a little different with the string tension on them. The holes are drilled nice though. They do fit nice and snug. You don't want to tighten them down too hard right now, because once they're all in, we're going to go through the back and straighten them out. So now we're just seating them and putting the washer and the bushing on them. save the screws for later. All right, now that they're all seated a little loose, we're just going to tighten them just a little bit. We're going to use our trusty 10mm hex nut wrench here. And these guys are great because if you try to get in there with an open crescent wrench, or even worse, an adjustable monkey wrench, not only would you round out the nice bushing here, but you may end up scratching a lot of the metal and the chrome. And part of the beauty of the guitar is all this exposed chrome. Now we'll take a look at the back. It's actually fairly straight. And these holes aren't drilled exactly straight, so we'll see if we can line them up nicely. I got my Harbor Freight ruler here. Shout out to Harbor Freight. They don't endorse anything or give us any money, but you gotta love a place where you can get very inexpensive tools and a free flashlight while you're at it. But we'll just use this straight edge here. And since we're not going to drill the holes right now, we don't have to worry too much about it, but we're just putting them in kind of straight. And then I'm just going to give them a little more tweak. Not putting them in that tight because they're not going to stay there forever. We're going to take them off when we have to do the finishing. Not bad. Okay, I like the tombstone shape, but I don't think the quality of the actual gearing on the inside is too good. So if the guitar ends up being something nice, we may end up changing those out. Okay, so the next thing the instructions say to do is the strap buttons. And it says to use a 3/32 drill bit, and you're going to go a 1/2 inch deep. So I've got my 3/32 drill bit here, and I've got it taped off at a 1/2 inch. And we're just going to find the middle spot on the back of the guitar, and then put the drill in there and put in that strap button there. We'll see how that works out. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking a straight line, basically running down the neck at the inlays, and then it runs through the gap between the 3rd saddle and the 4th saddle here. And I think that's going to leave us right here in the middle. That may not be exactly where it goes, but at least it gives me a spot to start out with, where I think the middle might be. If I measure what I've got here of the guitar body, it's we'll call it 9 3/4 inches. Put my marks there. Either way, it'll be in the center of the thickness of the guitar body. But I think I may use the spot that is the exact middle of the guitar body. I think if it's too low, you end up with too much strap, putting pressure here on the body. But I'm going to go measure out a full-size Strat, and I'm going to see about where it ends up on there. Okay, so I went ahead and measured a couple of my Strat style guitars, including my Fender American Standard. And they actually end up with the strap button a little lower than even this lower one. It ends up being just in line with the third string. So I'm going to go just a little bit lower than the line I made that was exactly in the middle here from the neck through the bridge. I'm going to go about a 1/4 inch lower than that, and I'm going to make it almost in line with where the third string is going to sit on the saddle. So just a little lower, about right there, and then obviously right in the middle of the width of this body here. Alright, so now when I take a look at it again, where I had the spot actually is a little lower than the middle here. So taking a look at it, I think that's where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to use this low mark here, and I'm going to measure the width here and put it right in the middle of that bad boy. So we're going to say it's about 1.5 inches. So middle part would be 3/4 of an inch, right about there. Take a quick look at it. I think it looks pretty good. So the only real hard part about this is just making sure that when you drill in, you drill straight. So when you put the screw in, it doesn't angle, go straight in. So a great tip I learned from watching a video of Dan Earlywine, who probably is one of the premier guitar builders and restorers and repairers, is when you go to drill on a smooth wood surface like this, you always want to give yourself a little bit of an indent so the drill has something to catch on. If not, the drill bit may slide a little bit and you may not get the hole exactly where you want it. So I'm just going to take this nail and right where my hole is there, and I'm just going to knock in a little divot there. I got my little itty bitty hammer here, so I don't want it to be too much. More importantly, I want it to be pretty straight. I'm just going to little tap there, and that way when we use our drill bit, it's got a little place to catch. There's my drill bit. I got it taped off so I don't go too far. There we are, one drilled hole. Okay, so here we are, strap button, screw, and then protective washer. Usually these are felt. This one seems like it's a little bit of a plastic rubber. I'm going to get a screwdriver that fits this screw better. This part, just like the drill part, you want to make sure that it goes in straight, that not too much of an angle. Okay, and there we have one new strap button. So I gotta say, guys, it's turning out pretty good. Here's a nice picture of what we got going on so far. It's been a nice day. Got the garage door open, the birds are singing, and I'm in here building guitars. So we're going to go ahead and end this video here because it's getting a little long. I want to thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already, I want to tell you guys to subscribe and go ahead and hit the bell. Go ahead and look down there. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell, because at this point you're already invested in what we're doing here, so you're going to want to see it through. Thanks for watching.